Good evening. This is Dwight Kelly, a researcher and a history student that is part of a team of researchers compiling information on African American high schools in Louisiana before 1970. Today, my colleague, Dr. Russell Hill, had the pleasure of interviewing Coach Wilbur Flanagan, a distinguished coach in the L.I.A.L.O during the 1960s. Coach Flanagan shares some great stories about his career as a student and football player at DeSoto High School in Mansfield, Louisiana, and his high school coaching career at Charles H. Brown High School in Spring Hill, Louisiana. He shares a wealth of knowledge, wisdom, and inspiration throughout the interview. It is a pleasure to listen to his talking and telling stories and a few jokes and his coaching philosophy and his accomplishments. Grab a chair, sit back, and enjoy Coach Flanagan's journey.
Today's date, March 1st, 2021. It's about 2:13 p.m. Central Standard Time. Hello, Coach Flanagan. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. About you?
I'm doing well also.
Yes, sir.
Coach Brown, I understand that you went to DeSoto Parish Training School.
That's correct.
Okay. What years were you at DeSoto Parish Training School?
Well, I started at the DeSoto Parish Training School in 19 what is that, 1948.
And this was in what grade?
That's first.
First grade. Okay.
Right.
When did you enter high school?
I entered high school in 56.
1956.
1956.
Mm-hmm. Now, just so that we'll know what community DeSoto Parish Training School encompass, what communities was served by DeSoto Parish Training School?
Well, the DeSoto Parish Training School, it had its foreways about Bryson, Louisiana, and Pelican was surrounding us, and as far as Stanley toward the Logansport, and all the way down to Pleasant, Pelican, Louisiana.
Okay. Okay. And about what was the when you were at DeSoto Parish Training School? About what was the enrollment? Could you know the approximate enrollment of it?
Well, it was a combination school, 1 through 12. All of that was on that campus.
Mm-hmm.
And I would not, I would roughly say that it was probably around 600 or so students on that campus.
Oh, okay. Good. Now, you mentioned in ninth grade, you were in ninth grade in 1956, am I correct?
In 1956, I was in ninth grade.
In ninth grade. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now, what sport did you play while you were in high school?
In high school, I played football, basketball, and we didn't have a regulated baseball, but that was summer. But it was just football and basketball.
Okay, did you do track?
We didn't have a track.
Okay. Now, we'll take these one at a time.
Okay.
Let's talk about your football experience.
Yes.
Okay. What position did you play in football?
Well, in football, we ran a wing team, and sometimes we ran a regular set. But I was a quarterback and a spin back, what we call a spin back, with the single wing.
Okay. Good. Now, do you recall some of your teammates who were on your football team?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I just about have them all, just about. But like
Now, do you want to name some of the people on defense now? You did a good job on offense. But
Well, see, then at DeSoto, when you played offense, you played defense too.
okay, now what was your defensive position?
The defensive position in high school, I was a defensive end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I played a defensive end in our line of work.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
Now, 1956 was, as I understand the history of DeSoto High School, 1956 was very important in the history of the high school, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Would you explain how that was so important for your high school?
Well, in 1956, we had just been changed from a yellow jacket to a tiger. I think that happened around 54, 55. We became Tigers, and it was a year that we went undefeated and won the state championship that particular year in football. It was a culmination of ball clubs that came together with the right match of people working together, and we formed a very good team at that particular time.
Now,
It was the start of something big.
now, you said you won the state championship that year.
Yes, we did.
Okay. Now, who was the team you defeated in the state championship game?
The state championship game that year, we defeated L.B. Landry of New Orleans.
Okay. Do you know what the score was?
The scores were tied 6-6, and everything else was tied except I think we won it by 3 or 4 yards. Penetration was tied, first downs were tied, scores were tied, and we won it on yardage.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now, who were in 1956? Who were some of the defeated?
Oh, some of the defeated schools.
Yes.
Oh, Booker Washington.
Of Shreveport. Of Shreveport. Right?
Washington of Shreveport.
Yes.
Okay, Peabody of Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you had Webster of Minden. You had Bossier, Charlotte Mitchell of Bossier, and you had Carroll of Monroe, and I'm trying to look down the line at all of them. Well, I think we played a plain dealing. And
Plain dealing, was that C.H. Iron?
no, that's in Benton.
Okay.
C.H. Iron is in Benton. Plain dealing was Carrie Martin.
Yeah, Carrie Martin, okay.
Right. And we defeated L.B. Landry for the state championship.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So, that was a great year for you.
Yes, I think we scored 300 and about 26. I think 326. That might not have been the year, but we were undefeated.
Okay.
We was undefeated that year.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, let's go to 1957. How was 1957 different from 1956?
Okay. 1957 was another year we won the state championship again. We went undefeated again. And we played Capital from Baton Rouge.
Okay, do you recall the score?
Yes, I do. We beat them 18-7.
Okay. Okay, 18-7.
Right.
What were some of the other schools that you played in 1957? Were they the same?
They were the same schools,
Okay.
and we ended up beating them in the finals. They were from the South,
some
and they were the winners of the South.
Okay. And some of the teams you played were Booker T. Washington, Peabody, Webster, Charlotte, Mitchell, Carroll, and Kerry Martin.
Kerry Martin, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the teams those were the teams that we played on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. Now, up north, who was your competition? Who would you have considered the hardest competition?
Well, the competition was strong. That was Webster. Webster was always strong. Carroll, Peabody, Booker Washington. Yes, they were strong.
Yeah.
And I forgot to mention the teams that we were playing. We also played Winfield and DeRitta.
In Winfield, that was Pinecrest.
That's right.
Pinecrest, which was at that time, but may have been Wynn Training School.
That's right. They had that big boy, Preston Powell.
Okay.
Who ended up with the Cleveland Browns as the backup to Jim Brown.
Okay. Then you said you played, you mentioned DeRitta.
Yeah, we had DeRitta also.
So they were probably DeRitta Parish Training School, which later became George Washington Carver High School.
I believe you're right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then we also played a school, Tertiary. Tertiary was in the Washita Parish, which later became Richmond.
Richwood, Tertiary, yeah. That became Richwood.
Richmond. They had a Richwood there too, but Tertiary was outside of. I think it was outside of. It might have been, but I know Tertiary was their name during that time.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, good. Now, let's go to 1958.
Okay.
Okay, tell me about 1958 in football.
In 1958, we were state champions again.
Okay.
We scored something like 320 points, and we allowed only 26 that season.
Okay.
And we won the state championship 54-0 over McKinley.
McKinley of Baton Rouge, right?
That's right. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Who were the schools you played that year?
The schools we played that year, looking at them, Tertiary, DeRitta. Webster's game was canceled because the rain came and the lights went out. And I think Webster was glad. And then we played Carroll, McKinley, Peabody, Booker Washington of Shreveport, Winfield, Bossier, and we met McKinley again in the state final.
So now, and by this time, you were a junior, am I correct?
That's right. I was a junior at that time.
You were a junior at that time.
Right.
And you've done it 3 times.
That's right.
Now, did you all try to do it a 4th time?
We tried, but we didn't. Some of those horses were gone.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And we was in the rebuilding stage at that time.
Oh, okay.
And we had a very lean year, my senior year.
Oh, okay. Now, what type of record did you have your senior year, 1959?
In 1959, I think we might have won 3 ball games.
And out of how many games scheduled?
Well, our regular schedule, we usually ran about 8 to 9 games a year.
Okay, so you were 3-6.
I think it was something like that.
So that was a miserable year for you, wasn't it?
Well, that was a miserable year. I was left with all of my linemen gone, and everybody else. It was a lean year. It was a very lean year because I was. In other words, it was a lean year for our ball club, but I was one of those most sought after players in the state from the other years.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, Okay, so everybody knew about getting you went back, didn't they?
Oh yes, they did. I had that was Isidore Haynes and McKinley and myself and Huddleston from Washington High School and Lake Charles. We were the sought-after athletes in the state.
Okay.
That year.
Did you all ever play Washington or W.O. Boston?
That's what I'm saying. We played Washington, but it wasn't every year.
Mm-hmm.
We played Washington. That's where Huddleston was.
Okay.
He was at Washington High
Okay.
in Lake Charles. We never did play W.O. Boston, but we played Washington.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, good. So that sums up your football career. Is there anything else you want to say about your football career in high school?
Well, my football career in high school, I had the pleasure of, started played every game, and the joy of it was the outcome was with us working with against schools that were larger than we were, and all of the equipment and all those type of things. We was kind of lacking in that, but like for an example, we practiced in blue jeans and shoulder pads.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't have enough helmets for all of the team when we played. Whenever you go in the game, you get the size of the helmet of whoever you went in there to get. And so you didn't have no face guards, no face mask at all. But things got a little better. But we didn't have all of the equipment, but we had the men to play.
Oh, okay. Oh, another team I wanted to ask you, did you play? Did you ever play Central? Well, it could have been Natchitoches Parish Training School.
Yeah.
You played them. What about?
Yeah, we played Central. They was kind of down. They had J.D. Garrett there, who was they ended up we was teammates when we went on the next level.
Mm-hmm.
But he was one of the best. Best around.
Okay.
J.D. Garrett from Niagara Central.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
What about for Jackson High School? Did you play?
That was in Jonesboro.
Jonesboro, yeah.
Right. We never did play Jonesboro.
You never did. Okay.
No, we never did play Jonesboro.
Mm-hmm. Did you play any of the other teams up north, like perhaps Morehouse or Carter G. Woodson? Any of those?
No, we never did play like Haynesville. You were talking about Haynesville.
Yes.
That's Woodson.
Yeah.
No, we never did play them, and we never did play Morehouse.
Oh, okay.
And see that team over there was at Morehouse or Bastrop. I think they had a 4-year in a row state championship in the early 50s, and we had 3 years in a row.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Out of that was Morehouse, I believe it was.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's talk about basketball at DeSoto Parish Training School.
Okay.
Tell me about that. Did you play in your freshman year?
Yes, I did.
What was your position?
Well, I was a guard.
Okay. Which one of the guards?
Well, we just had 2 guards and three in the back. I was one of the ones out front.
So were you the shooter or were you the pointer?
I was more like a point, and I could defend well.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was about the thing then. And basketball at DeSoto during that time, at the beginning, we didn't have a gym.
Okay.
We played somebody that had a gym.
Oh, okay.
And the thing about it, we are practicing when the weather got rough. We had to ride the Logansport or Second Ward to practice of All Saints when they got a gym in Second Ward. But Logansport had a gym before any of the three.
Oh, okay. Now,
Mm-hmm.
who did you all play in basketball? Were it the same teams that you played in football, or was it different?
It was the same team that we played in football, and then we even went across the line over in Texas. We played with Logansport with a rivalry and this type of thing. Here in Second Ward, All Saints, they got teams later because all of those schools were really, they were schools that didn't have high schools in their community.
Yeah.
In the later years, they got them, and they had gyms before we did.
Oh, okay.
And so when the weather, well, we ride a bus to practice every day to one of those sites because we didn't have indoor facilities.
Okay.
But we was in the state playoff every year from the ground.
On the ground? Oh, okay. Now let's talk. Let's number 1956.
1956, we didn't have a gym. We was on the ground.
You were on the ground. And how did you all do in basketball?
We was in the state playoff every year in Baton Rouge.
Okay. How did you? 1956. You were in the playoffs, but how far did you?
We didn't advance too far in '56. I don't know whether it was one game and out or two games and out, but we were in Baton Rouge at Southern every year.
So were you in the semifinals or finals? Is what I'm trying to.
No. See, you had to play about 4 games to win it all. Then but we was more or less 1 and out or 2 and out.
Okay, so 56, were you 1 or 2 and out?
Well, as I remember it, I don't think that we got no further than 1.
Okay, 1 and out.
Right, I think
Okay.
that was about like it.
1957, what do you think happened there?
1957, I'm just trying to take a view back. That was one of those years there where we was probably 2.
2 and out. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now what about 58?
Well, in 58, I'm trying to recall, I think in 58, we was in the 3rd round, I think, and was out, I think, we lost to St. Aug.
Okay.
I think St. Aug, that was either that or the 4th year. That is my memory.
Oh,
Served
okay.
me pretty well.
Okay. And then the 4th time you were there, how far did you think you went?
That's what I'm saying. I think that was that 4th year was that's the 3rd year. That was our 3rd year.
Okay.
And we didn't advance too far that 4th year either.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that takes care of. Now, in retrospect, what would you say about your basketball experience at DeSoto Parish Training School?
Well, the coach that coached football, he coached basketball.
Okay, and who was the coach?
Coach Baldwin.
Coach Baldwin.
He coached everything, and if you were a decent football player that had skills where you were, you was expected to play that sport too, basketball. And we competed in all of them each year, and it was working up toward where they ended up later years where they won the state championship. The girls won a state championship even during this time in '58.
Okay.
I think Miss Glory was coaching at that time, and I think we won. The girls won it, and we won football too. So both of those, we captured both of them in the state that year.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay, good. So So you had, just tell me, what type of person was Coach Baldwin?
He was a person that I tried to imitate all my life. He was one of the best coaches that you could find. He was well educated. You couldn't run across any kind of anything that he'd come to him about, he didn't know something about. Be it literature, be it whatever. He was just a real smart man. He was more than just a coach. He was an educator also. And I spent most of my time wanting to be like him. If you played horseshoes, he beat you at recess playing that. And he was just, I said, I want to be like him. And I think I patterned tried to do that. You know, never measured up to it, but I didn't get far away.
Oh, okay.
He's very smart.
Oh, okay.
He knew the rule book. And any time they got in a question, they would call Coach Baldwin. The coaches, other coaches. He was an interpreter. He was quite, in other words, he was all around.
Right, and quite knowledgeable from what you're saying.
Yes, he was.
Knowledgeable. Yeah, what was his temperament?
Well, easy to a point.
Okay.
Easy. I mean, he was understanding and all those things there. And very easy to talk to. And he was strictly, you know, he was about developing you totally. Not only just a ball player, but you to be a good student and off of that ball club that we had, all that went to college, just graduated from college.
Okay. You graduated in 1958.
Graduated in 1960.
In 1960.
Yes, May of 1960.
May of 1960.